We Radio, very good morning, Friday the 20th of August, and I've been joined in the studio by a very special guest this morning, so I'd like to say good morning to John. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Lee. My name's John Raw, and for a number of years I was involved in local community action in the area. Some people might remember me. I've had 4 or 5 different careers. I've managed to jam into my life, and today I've come along to talk about something that I've taken up with a passion since my retirement from working for Neighbourhood Watch more than 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think the first time I met you, John, I was about 8 or 9 years old down at Henno, and I think you were wandering around the streets, and I think you were doing a knit with the police, actually, and I think you had a little bit of chat about me, asking me what was happening on the estate, and I think from then you've had many, many hats, and how are you enjoying retirement at the moment?
Well, it's the old adage, Lee. Thank you. I remember that also. I take issue with the idea of wandering. It's sort of dedicated foot patrol as opposed to wandering. It's the old adage, isn't it? How did I ever fit going into work into my life? I'm not sure, because probably like a lot of people, yourself included, leisure and volunteering has just taken up my life. I spent, without being big-headed, I'm going to sound big-headed, but I spent a solid 11 hours on Tuesday just volunteering for different groups and agencies and things.
Yeah, at least you're keeping yourself active. So how long were you involved with Durham Constabulary, especially with the Neighbourhood Watch?
The idea nationally began in 1985, and I got involved with the very first schemes that were set up in Bishop Auckland. It got off to a real flyer in 1986. Then the first initial scheme they had was on the Lakes Estate in West Auckland. At that time was suffering from domestic burglary, and literally within a fortnight of that, and due to Neighbourhood Watch, we had the 3 culprits arrested. So the higher ups at Bishop Auckland Police Station for a while thought, yeah, this is flavour of the month. Look what this has done, because this is community action. Someone's rang in, we've gone round, actually apprehended 3 people committing these burglaries, and so the figures fell away there. So it was always sort of held up, even towards the end. That estate has been the kind of flagship for Weir Valley's Neighbourhood Watch, and the idea grew into sister things like, you might remember, Hospital Watch, Shop Watch, and a very active across Weir and Tees Farm Watch that won several prestigious national awards, and several serious criminals went to prison as a result of what was done through Farm Watch and Weir and Tees.
And I remember a lot of the meetings, and a lot of times I used to speak to you, John, and it's all about that community knowledge that helps to catch these criminals.
Because that's quite right, Lee. When I started this, you might not believe this now, but I was quite a quiet, shy bloke. But I soon discovered that by getting into communities, a lot of people, that's where the strength was. You got round, and I was an old-fashioned cop in the sense that I would think nothing of spending my shift, the entire shift, walking around St Helens, West Auckland, or the next day walking around Toughdale or Towlaw or any one of 117 different Neighbourhood Watch groups. And through that, yeah, you got to know the movers and the shakers in the communities. I'm sure Lee can remember, like me, the movers and the shakers for St Helens and the movers and the shakers for Henno. Yeah, and it was found that just about every community had those people. Yes, it was a real pleasure to go to work, and I think that's always a benchmark, isn't it? When you get up in the morning, you want to go to work. Yeah, previously, in another life, I had a job that I got up and think, oh, I've got to go there again. But in the 26 years I'm involved with the Durham Constabulary and Neighbourhood Watch, that didn't occur.
It didn't. And one of the most recent things I got involved with you, John, one of my other hats is as a local councillor for Henno. Myself and Jack Cullen, we had a bit of an issue with speeding traffic along Watland Road from the Aldi roundabout up past the old fire station to Cockton Hill. And what we did one Saturday morning with yourself and support, we went and did a speed watch. And I think that's been a highlight of what's happening with the voice of the people.
That's true, Lee. When I got retired from Neighbourhood Watch, I then went and did 5 years, mainly at a crook, volunteer speed watch, where we built up a team of people I knew through Neighbourhood Watch and people I got to know. We went from having 3 people to where we had 14 different people. We were out, 2 of them were out every other day. I was never that committed to it myself, but yes, it made a big difference, and it took a load off the police's shoulders, so much so that they were able, this is crook Constabulary, they were able to purchase a speed watch vehicle. Now I understand now that from that they've now got an order in for a further 2, so there's going to be 3 vehicles liveried up across the Wear and Tees division, just dedicated to speed watch.
Excellent. Right, we're going to take a short break now. I'm going to play one of your chosen songs, and then we're going to come back and talk about this exhibition, this rail exhibition, which you've been heavily involved with, and we'll talk more about that in just a second, right here on Weir Radio. Classic Beatles and A Hard Day's Night, as chosen by John Raw this morning, who's my special guest here to talk about a couple of things. But one of the main things is, of course, this fantastic Rail Heritage Exhibition, which is going to be marking 4 years up to the upcoming Steam Passenger Railway Bicentenary, and it's all happening in the area. So, John?
Thank you, Lee. Good morning again.
Where do you start?
Where do I start? Exactly, that might be a good point. I think you should view this as part of the cog in a much wider thing. We've got many partners in this, and at the peak of this, I see this going towards the culture bit to have Durham County, as quite rightly should be, the county of culture for 2025, which will dovetail in very nicely. One of the strengths of it is the fact that it'll be the 200th anniversary of the Stockton-Darlington Railway at the same time. So this is one facet of that. We've got many partners, many partners, including the Friends of the Stockton-Darlington Railway, the Railway Institute at Shildon, which is the oldest railway institute in the world, which is the venue for this event, and our efforts to keep that place in the forefront. I see this railway exhibition as part of the big month of September, because those people might not know, September is a sort of celebratory month for various bits about the railway, and there's a whole range of things going on. The one I want to talk about today is going on the first Sunday in September. This is being held from noon on Sunday the 5th in the Shildon Railway Institute in New Shildon. As I said, the oldest railway institute in the entire world, although it's not on the site it was originally, but it goes back, it takes its roots from the founding fathers of the Stockton-Darlington Railway in 1833, and it's, like I say, going on that day. So there are various displays taking place, various tables running along from groups representing Etherley, then next representing West Auckland, St Helens, and then the Bristol Incline group, and then Shildon, and so it goes on until it reaches the end at Stockton. For those people who don't know, it's behind the terminus. The old terminus is behind the Mecca Bingo in Stockton. There's other groups displaying. We've been working, one of the projects we've been working with the local school, the Timothy Ackworth Juniors, and the Shildon Choir, which meet on a Friday night in the Railway Institute. So both the Shildon Choir and Sam Slatcher, who's working jointly with several of us, has concocted some songs now from the children at Timothy Ackworth School. There was a launch, a premiere locomotion a number of weeks ago. That was a big success, but they were reprising that, the 16 different stalls. Additionally, the film of the Cavalcade, which took place, for those who can remember, back in August of 1975, which is some 46 years ago and makes me feel somewhat old. That film will be additionally running that day. One of the other features is a portrait of Timothy Ackworth as a young man, which had been lost in the Railway Museum archives in the back of York Railway Museum for more than 40 years, as in the last 12 months, thanks to some diligent work, resurfaced. Jane Ackworth Young, the 6th-time descendant of Timothy Ackworth, will be coming along to formally unveil that portrait.
It's incredible, John, and there's so much history here in this particular area as well, because Whitton Park, as we know, is the cradle of where it really initially all started a little bit, and then obviously the Darlington to Stockton railway line was the first major one, and then obviously you've got the Shildon's involved in there. So in this particular area, southwest Durham alone, it's incredible the amount of history associated to railways.
It is, Lee, but like I say, this bid for cultural heritage in 2025, personally myself, to enrich that list, I think here in southwest Durham, in the Bishop Auckland Shildon areas, there's a strong case for it, and it's up to us to big up the idea of southwest Durham having a big part to play in this. I was very pleased to read a number of months ago that city culture wouldn't be limited to Durham City, but it would cover the whole of the county, and as I understand it, the announcement's in the spring of next year. So I'm walking around with my fingers crossed on behalf of all these areas, because I'm sure, I don't need to tell you listeners, but Durham does need a lift in terms of regeneration and tourism. We've got a lot to be boastful about.
We definitely have, and I've read that story out in the past, especially with the likes of Durham Cathedral is obviously the main attraction, but here in Southwest Durham, they've included the Auckland Castle with the history of the castle as well as Kinrin, which is a visitor attraction, so that's great. So we'll all keeping our fingers crossed for the capital of culture in 2025. Right. John, there's lots more to talk about, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you in more regular, so you can keep us up to date with the progress of this, but just to repeat, when is the exhibition on?
This exhibition is on Sunday the 5th of September in the Railway Institute, Shildon, from noon onwards.
Right, thank you very much, John. Thanks for popping in to see us at Wee Radio, and no doubt we'll see you in the very near future, and enjoy your retirement and your 11 hours a day volunteering. Thank you very much, John. Take care.
Okay.